After a thrilling first conference filled with unforgettable moments, passion, and grit, the NDSL's back better than ever, ready to witness the next chapter in this growing organization of rising talent and future players. Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Met Park Sports Center, we welcome you to the second conference of the 2025 NDSL Basketball Series. The name is Chol Pangilinan, covering the action with Kyle Sanchez and of course Daniel LaGuardia at the sidelines. And this game is in the 25 and under division. It's between the JRU Heavy Bombers and the St. Clair Saints.
Featuring the St. Clair Saints and the JRU Heavy Bombers. Now it's time to meet the starters first for the St. Clair Saints. Starting guard number 4, Richmond Montejo. Other guard number 25, Angelo Ibanez. At forward number 3, Clint Manzano. Also at forward number 16, Soy Escobedo. And at center number 57, Babahar and Tong. The head coach of the St. Clair Saints is Gino Manansala. And now let us meet the starters for the JRU Heavy Bombers. Starting guard number 9, Sean Argente. To guard number 24, Leo Peña Verde. At forward number 27, Ivan Panapanan. Also at forward number 94, Justin Lozano. And man in the middle, number 21, Lance Benitez. The head coach of the JRU Heavy Bombers is Nani Epuntulan.
Again, this match is between the St. Clair College of Caloocan Saints and the JRU Heavy Bombers. So, of course, talking about the St. Clair Saints first, a well-known powerhouse in the NASCU League. And on the other side, JRU, again, not really a powerhouse, but of course, you know, definitely one of the up-and-coming teams in the NCAA. For sure, they've made a lot of moves the past off-seasons. And sooner or later, that's going to be in full effect. So hopefully it's going to be a successful season for them in season 101. But for now, they'll be facing the NASCU 8-peat champions in the St. Clair Saints. And of course, they're playing with an FSA with Babacar and Dong. So that's instantly one disadvantage JRU has. But again, they are an NCAA team for a reason. Meanwhile, Angelo Ibanez not wasting any time. And if you're JRU, that's someone you have to watch out for. And meanwhile, Ibanez getting called for a quick foul. Too aggressive on that sequence. But let's take another look. Bombs away for Mr. Ibanez to start this game. Meanwhile, Argente receives it outside. Sean attacks. Nowhere to go. He puts one up. Not that time. So no good for Argente. Possession now with St. Clair again. Manzano up top. Hands it off. Escobedo. Thought about the three. Ibanez this time. Montejo attacks left. He puts one up. Gets it to go off the glass with a left hand. Argente outside. Basket and one. So Justin Lozano getting the hoop and the arm, a chance to make it a three-point play. Let's take another look. Escobedo getting called for that foul. Strong drive for Mr. Lozano. And a bonus free throw coming up. Of course, some coaching staff changes in the side of JRU the past off-season. Rather, this off-season. Coach Nani Ipindulan, recently named as JRU head coach. Let's see if he shall be effective for season 101. But on the other side, nothing has changed. Coach Ginino Mansala, still that guy, still the spearhead of this St. Clair Saints squad. 7-3 now, 4-point lead after that Babacar Endong spin move to the cup. As Argente will miss it. Endong brings it down. Babacar Endong going coast to coast, at least tried to, but gets fouled. So 2 free throws for Babacar Endong, longtime FSA of the St. Clair Saints. As first one is no good. Second freebie on its way. Off the window, it's good for Endong. Argente now to Lozano. Peña Verde to the corner for 3. That's short. Montejo now. Endong provides the pick to Escobedo. He fades away. No good for Escobedo. Peña Verde this time for JRU. Argente outside, the pick from his teammate. Lozano attacks right. Goes to the cup, gets fouled. He'll be shooting 2 free throws.
You can't be afraid to attack the basket even with the presence of Babacar Endong down in the paint. And this is one of the disadvantages in the recent years that NCAA teams have played without an FSA. But so far they've adjusted to life after FSAs, and JRU is one of those. JRU has always been one of those feisty teams that always will give you a hard time regardless of who's playing for them. You know that they're always going to give 100% out there on the floor.
And expect them to really give a focus on Babacar Endong. He's the clear threat of the St. Clair Saints. Meanwhile, Ibanez for 3. Not that time. Rebound by Peña Verde. But he will turn the ball over. So it's 8-5 now. Under 7 minutes remaining in our opening period. As Montejo will bring it down. Peña Verde trying to clamp him up. Montejo to Manzano outside. One more guy that could contribute really well. Ibanez. Back to Escobedo outside. He's asking for a pick. Endong will provide it. Shot clock at 1 second. Not that time. Rebound by Argente.
That's great perimeter defense coming from JRU, not allowing St. Clair to get that ball inside the paint. And if you can force St. Clair to some tough perimeter shots, you're giving yourself a better chance.
Another look on that block coming from Endong, sending that ball back to the friend zone. But quick to redeem is JRU. It's back to a 1-point game. Montejo, or rather, yes, it is Montejo. This time, Manzano. Ibanez having a hard time. Good defense from the heavy bombers. Montejo not wasting any time, trying to generate some offense. But will hand it off to Ibanez for 3. Won't go. Endong drawing the foul. So possession will stay with the Saints.
But if you're JRU, you would live with the Saints taking those outside jumpers. If you negate the presence of Babacar and Dong, that increases your chances of getting this win here today.
But a timeout is called here by Coach Janino Manansala as they're down by 1 point. Over 5 minutes remaining in Chapter 1.
The St. Clair Saints were close to a championship title last conference and they are back to take it this time around. Improvements have been made, chemistry has bloomed, veterans are becoming leaders, and we will see a new energy from the Saints. Added to the roster are rookies Richmond Montejo from the recent ASCO Junior Champion Team New Era and Angelo Farinas from Mapua, who are expected to contribute to the team. Unfortunately, JB Lim, one of the key players, is out today due to a hamstring injury. Let's see how the St. Clair Saints will bounce back and set the tone in their first game. Cholo and Kyle?
Thank you very much, Daniel, for that report. And indeed, a lot of great additions to the roster. Hopefully, again, it's going to be one successful season in 101 of the NCAA. But right now, JRU with this possession, let's see if they can extend that lead. As Peñaverde will miss that shot.
And JB Lim has been touted as the replacement at the point guard spot for Aaron Estacio. Of course, learning under the veterans Aaron Estacio and Ryan Sewell, you can't get a better experience than what JB Lim had in the past season of the NAASCO, where they won the championship. And now he has been tasked with manning the point guard spot for Coach Janino Manansala and their squad.
And I'm sure everyone will agree when I tell you all that those are big shoes to fill. I mean, knowing Aaron Estacio, that guy is something else.
Yes, they're now, of course, playing in the MPBL, trying to reach higher levels in the basketball world.
Meanwhile, Clint Manzano finding that open spot off the pass from his teammate, as now St. Clair handling a 1-point lead. Over 4 minutes remaining in Chapter 1. No good at the 3-ball, rebound by Dumancas. And this guy, another veteran for the St. Clair Saints. Talking about Drake Acosta.
Yeah, you can't allow Babacar Endong to establish position that deep in the paint. As soon as he crosses the half court or around the 3-point area, you have to put a body on him without fouling, of course. You have to try and deny him the ball and not allow him to just easily walk into the paint without much resistance.
So 14 to shoot in this possession for St. Clair, as Drake Acosta will be the one to trigger the inbound. And Dong looking to ask for it, and he gets it. Acosta inside, try to find Manzano, but that's stolen. Meanwhile, not the best shot for JRU in transition. Good hustle from Clint. St. Clair now with a possession. Loyola goes right off that Manzano pick. They try that pick and roll play, it won't work. 10-9. So substitution made by Coach Janino Manansala. Burgos coming in for Manzano. Meanwhile, Sarmiento to the corner. They try from deep. That won't hit. Loyola this time. Burgos provides the pick. Acosta at that left spot to the corner. The drive, too strong for Burgos.
That was a good move, driving baseline, just overshot that layup for Burgos. But I've always said Burgos might be the most talented local big man for St. Clair. You could argue that it's Manzano. It could be a tie between the two of them, but together with Babacar and Dong, they make up such an imposing front line.
Chaparinas looking to enter the game. In exchange for Babacar and Dong. As Ian Dumangkas a chance to extend this lead. But there seems to be a concern regarding Ian Dumangkas, as he has been hit on the face. So I think our officials said that he will have to be subbed out for the meantime.
It seems as though there is some blood, I guess. That's the only reason I could think of that would warrant a substitution for Dumangkas. They have to close up that wound before he checks back into this ball game.
So Ibanez will be the one to shoot the freebies. So a chance to warm up even further for Angelo Ibanez, the newfound shooter of this St. Clair squad. Two out of two for Angelo Ibanez. More importantly, a 3-point lead for the Saints. JRU now with a possession. They swing it around. No good at the shot. And they get it back. One more try. And they finally draw the foul.
That was a hard fall there for number 7. It was a good hustle play from him, and he's going to be rewarded with 2 free throws. It's hard to tell some of the names of these players from JRU. They don't have surnames on the back of their jerseys, but we do have Ivan Panaan at the free throw line. That's a mouthful.
Made his first one. We'll go 1 out of 2. He gets it back though. As this time it's Salvador against Ibanez. He attacks right. Trying to finish with the right as well, but it was too strong. Burgos going coast to coast, but that shot is erased from existence. Courtesy of Ivan Panapanaan.
What a great block coming from Panapanaan, coming out of nowhere. We thought Acosta was wide open for that layup after a beautiful in and out, free himself up. But Panapanaan timing it perfectly.
St. Clair a chance to redeem themselves. Acosta picked up by Sarmiento. This time Loyola. He attacks left. Stolen by Sarmiento. Panapanaan in transition.
Panapanaan was looking at the referees, waiting for that whistle to be called. But if the referee doesn't blow their whistle, you have to keep playing and not expect them to bail you out instead of getting that foul call. He was called for a traveling violation.
Couple of substitutions here for JRU. Herrera and Esguerra entering. Looking to provide some size. Monteo this time hands it off to Ibanez. Acosta, this time Burgos at the left spot. Marinas. Inside to Burgos, almost losing it. Picks it up, still no good. .40 seconds remaining in our opening chapter. Duque having a hard time against Montejo. Shot clock at 10. Salvador using that pick from Esguerra. Salvador attacks, the bump to Sarmiento, but that is way short.
Last shot time here for the Saints.
So play being ran by here. Parinas getting that loose ball.
That's not a good foul as JRU is already in the penalty.
So it's Parinas shooting to the newcomer for the Saints. But again, they are 8-peat champions. Funny to say that casually, as if 8-peat is nothing. Hopefully they can make it 9-peat next season again with the likes of Parinas now in the roster. At that
7
time,
seconds left on the clock.
4 seconds remaining. Down to 2 seconds. And no good at that buzzer-beating attempt coming from Yuri Duque. Nevertheless, that's the end of our first chapter. 13-10. The St. Clair Saints hanging on to a 3-point lead at the end of the first. And we'll be back for more action. Thirteen to 10 as we enter our second period. 3-point lead again being held on to here by the St. Clair Saints. Still too early to tell if who's gonna win this game. Again, with JRU having basically an army on their bench. Looks like Coach Nani Epondulan will experiment with his guys. On the other side of the St. Clair Saints, they have already, the familiar guys. So for sure, Coach Ginino Manansala knows who to use in times of need. As Salvador will fire a 3. Off to the back iron. Sarmiento, basket and one. The big guy doing big-time plays.
And with the absence of Babacar and Dong on the floor right now, you have to take full advantage of that and try to get some easy baskets in the paint as much as you can if you're JRU. As we see here in our instant replay.
That's Vince Sarmiento getting the rebound, putting it back in, of course, donning the black mask as well. In the NBA, when they wear black masks, they play better. So does that apply here?
You can remember LeBron famously donning a similar looking mask, and we'll see if he'll be able to have a big performance for JRU.
Hopefully he can. I believe already played the past 2 seasons for the Heavy Bombers. As Acosta will miss that shot, close range. Meanwhile, Burgos tried to swipe that ball away, but will get called for the foul instead. So after that 3-point play converted by Vince Sarmiento, we have a tied game at 13. So Jay Garupil will be the one to trigger the inbound as they have 17 to shoot. Sarmiento outside. Parinas on him. Vince attacks. Vince. Tough angle. No good. Rebound by Montejo. The pick by Burgos. Montejo almost lost it, and he continues to do so.
And JRU needs to capitalize on these turnovers by St. Clair and try to push the tempo.
Garupil at the left spot. Now to the right wing, Argente. Sean Argente drawing the foul. Another well-known shooter on the side of the Heavy Bombers.
Oh yes, so Sean Argente can light it up in a hurry for the Heavy Bombers, and you really have to honor that shot, the outside shot of his, and you have to also be wary of his drives to the basket.
And now let's turn it over to Fran Villanueva for her debut report.
Another team is here to introduce themselves. The JRU Heavy Bombers brought in 11 rookies, 2 sophomores, and 3 veterans. Coach Nani and Pondolan shared that they want to expose these players to the quality in games and the quality of physicality, especially for these rookies transitioning from juniors to seniors basketball. For this league, Coach Nani emphasized that they want them to play team basketball and to take the best available shot. With a close game, let's see how these players will step up. Cholo and Kyle?
Thank you very much, Fran. And
You wouldn't know that that's Fran's debut report, no, with the way that she delivered it.
Exactly.
Very clear and concise. Thank you, Fran.
so big time congratulations to, again, Fran Villanueva for her debut report. And speaking of our report, again, that has been the theme of JRU's roster so far. A mix of newcomers and a mix of mainstays. So definitely to gel together, that's the goal.
And 11 rookies is no joke for Coach Nani to handle such a team with that type of youth in their lineup. And it's going to be a tall task for him. But the beauty of that, of course, is that he can mold these young men into what he wants his system to look like. And sometimes it's easier to have rookies buy into your system as opposed to getting a lot of veterans who are used to a different system as to what you're trying to implement. And exciting things to come for Coach Nani and the rest of the JRU Heavy Bombers.
Certainly. And that has been a contrasting theme to their opponents as Argente steps out of bounds.
And when you're on the sideline, you can't really, you don't have that much space to do a negative step as you're trying to get that momentum to attack the basket. You have to be wary of where you are at all times on the court.
Meanwhile, Escobedo back in the game. Outside Montejo. Directing the offense for the Saints. Montejo up top to the right side. Escobedo pulls up. No good. (15-13). Garupil way outside. Acosta on him. Argente pulls up. Takes it inside.
Good ball movement there by the Heavy Bombers. And like what Fran reported earlier, Coach Nani emphasizing that they have to take the best available shot and play as a team. And so far, they've been doing just that, even though you're open for the shot. If you see a teammate who's closer to the basket, who might have a higher percentage look, you have to not think twice of giving that ball up and moving that ball as quickly as possible to get the best look.
Over 6 minutes remaining. So far, the Heavy Bombers leading by 2 points. It has been an exchange of leads so far in this game. Montejo this time. Acosta almost losing it. Acosta attacks. Nowhere to go. To the other side, it's Escobedo. Inside. Acosta saves it. Shot clock at 5. Reyes fades away. Tried it off the glass, but won't work. Not the best decision for Drick Acosta, as JRU now will be shooting penalty freebies.
It's the second time already this half that St. Clair is in the penalty. And for JRU, all you have to do, once again, I've been saying this since the first game today, you have to knock down your free throws. Such a crucial but overlooked part of the game sometimes. And free throws, I always say, can make or break the result of a ball game.
17-13. The Heavy Bombers now up by 4 points as we have under 6 minutes remaining in our first half. Now Acosta against Garopil. The veteran tried to find Ndsl, stolen right here. Basket and one in transition, courtesy of Harry Herrera.
Costly turnover there for the Saints as we take a look in our instant replays. It's just playing the passing lanes to perfection and finishing off the break. And if you're Ndsl, it's good that you're hustling back on defense to try and contest that shot. But sometimes there are instances where it's better to let it go than get a foul and then get an and one. And it's a double black eye for Ndsl. You get the turnover, you commit the foul, and you allow the and one from your opponent. Things not going well so far here for the Saints in the second quarter, which prompts Coach Janino to put Babacar and Dong back into the game.
Just for preventive measures, of course, but still just a 7-point lead. Very manageable for them.
And of course, with Babacar and Dong, that changes the complexion of the ball game completely.
Meanwhile, Dumangkas missing that shot from deep. Could have been big. Garopil now up top. That's Enal. Argente losing it, and Dong this time. And Dong will slam it home.
For the longest time that we've been able to cover St. Clair, Babacar and Dong loves that hard show. Whenever the guard comes off the screen, he likes to poke that ball free. He's very good with his hands, and he gets a lot of open court dunks from those turnovers that he generates.
Again, that's the reason why Coach Gino Manansala had to insert him in this game. As Argente gets fouled on his way to the cup.
There we go. We saw that last play. Babacar and Dong poking that ball away from Sean Argente, who's as steady as they come in handling that rock. But Babacar and Dong using that length and those long strides for that thunderous jam. But Argente using his high IQ to get back to the free throw line, knowing full well that St. Clair is already in the penalty.
2 free throws for the Cainta Rizal native. First one is good. Second one on its way for Sean Argente. One out of 2 for Sean. Nevertheless, they're up by 6 points. Manzano outside to Escobedo. He fires for 3. Too strong. Argente. Crossover move. Sean to the cup.
Sorry, missed there, but that was a beautiful move from Argente, just unable to finish the play.
Dumangkas will also miss, that time from 3. Still unable to redeem himself. Good thing they draw the foul. So another chance for St. Clair, but first, Coach Janino Manansala calling a timeout as they're down by 6 points, under 4 minutes remaining in our first half. Back to the action here, 21-15. The Heavy Bombers up by 6 as we take a look at our official basketball of the second conference of the Ndsl Basketball Series. Spalding, always building. Of course, the Legacy TF1000, our official ball specifically.
Great grip on that ball, and of course Spalding, a heritage brand in the sport of basketball, the most storied brand, if you would say, in the world of basketball.
Again, 21-15. Dumangkas sends it to Escobedo outside. Ndong attacking Enal, abusing his defender. Was able to see that mismatch and draws the foul.
In the front court of JRU is not really that tall, so you have to utilize Babacar Ndong. He's not your traditional post presence for an FSA. He likes to play from the wing, put that ball on the floor, but still with his height, with his quickness, you have to utilize him in the post as much as you can. And he's a decent free throw shooter despite that miss. So if you can put some pressure on the front court of JRU, that could bode well for Coach Janino and maybe get the lead back before the end of this quarter.
1 out of 2 for Babacar Ndong, the household FSA of St. Clair. But I don't think he's eligible to play next season anymore for Naascu. The 23rd season already of Naascu, of course. Meanwhile, Babacar Ndong erases that shot. But Ivan Panapanaan puts it back in.
And that's precisely what JRU can still do, even with Babacar Ndong in the paint. When he goes to block that shot, the paint is wide open for offensive rebounds.
Meanwhile, Ndong fumbling that easy shot. As Garopil on the other side, also fumbling his own. Both teams really running the floor. Stolen by Garopil. Eight-point lead for the Heavy Bombers. Peña Verde for 3. Off to the left, rebound by Ndong. Dumangkas to Ndong. And he's gonna get called for the traveling violation.
That's 2 consecutive possessions now that JRU has gotten a stop on Babacar Ndong. First making him miss that layup, and this time forcing him into a traveling violation. Good job by the defense of JRU to crowd his space and not allow him to simply barrel his way into the paint.
Another chance for JRU to increase that lead. Duque. This time Salvador. He gets it back. Outside again to Duque. Panapanaan receives it up top. It's still outside. And that's bingo from tape. Courtesy of Sean Salvador.
The lead has ballooned to 10 now here for JRU. Largest lead of the game so far with under 2 minutes here in the second quarter. Such a low-scoring affair for both of these teams. Really a defensive-minded game so far, at least here in the first half.
Meanwhile, Manzano fades away. That's way short. Good defense on the side of JRU. As Salvador sends it out. Peña Verde attacks. He gets blocked by Escobedo.
And St. Clair has gone cold from the field after those 2 consecutive misses from Ndong. This time Manzano with an air ball from mid-range, uncharacteristic from him. And he is replaced by Burgos.
So officially a double-digit lead now for JRU. Coach Nani's boys really doing a good job as Salvador is outside. Over 1 minute remaining in this first half. Salvador dancing with Burgos. Step back for 3. Bingo!
That is a confidence-boosting shot there, right in the face of Burgos, who's playing good defense. And he had the hand up at that, but still knocking it down.
It was only a long 2, but definitely that confidence-boosting shot was the main thing of it.
And to get the block on Burgos.
JRU continuing to wreak havoc. Salvador. Not that time. They get it back though. He'll try one more time. Bingo!
Salvador has had a second quarter to remember here in this game so far, playing very well for Coach Nani. And this lead is now at 15.
St. Clair in trouble. They will have to find scoring options outside Ndong. Escobedo drives. Outside again. Loyola. Short. Escobedo gets it back. They settle outside. Dumangkas. Unable to answer back.
And 10 seconds left on the clock here for the Heavy Bombers. And Salvador has had the hot hand in these past few possessions.
Salvador will try to make something happen. Panapanan for 3. Great unselfish play for Salvador. But no basket for the Heavy Bombers as we end our first half. 31-16, 15-point gap in favor of the JRU Heavy Bombers. As we take a look at our move of the game, of course, none other than this Babakar Ndong steal and slam. The signature of someone like Babakar Ndong, of course. And there you go, for sure they will need more of his services as they're trailing by 15 at the half. But for now, we'll take a short break and we'll be back for more. 31-16 at the half. Big time 15-point lead on the side of the JRU Heavy Bombers, but still, again, if you're 8-peat champions, there must be a reason for it. And if St. Clair's waiting for a time to show that reason, the time is now.
Yes, regardless if they're in different league, they are a dynasty, a championship team that Coach Ginino Mansala has built from the ground up, and you can never count out the heart of a champion. And even though they're down by 15 here to start the third quarter, you can count on St. Clair to go on a run here and maybe even get this win from JRU. We'll see.
Definitely still a lot of time left for St. Clair to make things happen. And again, they have the likes of Angelo Ibanez, now Drake Acosta on the floor. So for sure, they're looking to light it up from deep. As Burgos is backing down Garopil. Burgos too strong on the shot.
Burgos shaking his head after that shot, not satisfied that he wasn't able to make it, especially from such a close range.
This time it's JRU. Argente to Lozano at the right side. Putting on the moves, Garopil for three. (31-16). Surprisingly, no Sean Salvadoro to start the third quarter for JRU, as Ibanez unable to hit the three ball.
The usual suspects for St. Clair haven't been able to knock their shots down, but if you follow the law of averages, sooner or later some of these shots will have to fall.
Sorry miss from Lozano. Still a 15-point lead. Ndong inside. He gets fouled on that reverse attempt. So it's still Ndong. He's still the primary focus of that St. Clair offense. Of course, to no one's surprise. Two free throws for the St. Clair mainstay. First one is no good for Ndong. So again, no JB Lim for St. Clair. So perhaps another reason they're having a hard time really distributing the rock in an efficient manner. Garopil. Good defense from Montejo. Shot clock down to 12. The attack. Not that time. A lot of contact inside the paint. But that call is against JRU's number 21, Lance Benitez. So Benedict Katapang enters the game. Same with Vince Sarmiento for JRU. Angelo Ibanez, you've said it. The usual suspects not really making some noise. Stolen as JRU will get that slam.
That pass from Ndong was easily telegraphed there, and I don't know what's happening with the offense of St. Clair, but this isn't what we're used to seeing from the Saints, that's for sure.
Good thing for them, there's still a lot of time, but with how things are going, of course, they will have to really step it up sooner or later.
Well, this was that steal and dunk from Panapaan, really making a name for himself here today.
Burgos with a chance to redeem that 2 points taken a while ago. But he'll miss the first one again. It's a tough Monday for St. Clair.
You can see the frustration on his face. Some of the shots that he's been missing are shots that he normally makes. And it's just been one of those days for not just Burgos, but the rest of the team.
Garopil to Argente. He was very close to that half-court line. Sean to Sarmiento. Almost a turnover. Ndong looking to get it back. Acosta escapes with it. Easy two for Drake Acosta. Timeout call by the JRU Heavy Bombers as they're up by still a bunch, 33-19.
The Saints may be down by double digits, but champion coach Gino Manansala insists his players to not look at the score. Still as technical and as prepared as ever, he has molded his team for any situation. Only few reminders were to keep the defense up and pressure your opponent. As you mentioned, you cannot underestimate the heart of a champion, so let's see how they'll break the lead and force to get the upper hand in this half. Cholo and Kyle?
Thank you very much, Daniel, for that report. And indeed, it's going to be a tough bounce back method for the Saints. But of course, again, good thing for them, they had the luxury of time to figure things out. Still over 7 minutes remaining in our third chapter. Only our third game of the day, by the way. So make sure to check out the next games. Still a lot going on in our opening day of the Ndsl basketball series. We go back to the action here. Garopil and company again with a comfortable situation so far. Argente trying to get free. Argente to the other side. Sarmiento this time hands it off. Garopil goes right. Outside again, Argente. One-hander. No good for Sean. (33-19). Burgos attacks, the spin. Burgos fumbling that chance. This time, Laurinaria to Argente.
Oh yes, that's right. Apologies, that's number 7 with the dunk earlier. That's Laurinaria, not Panapap. We have to update our rosters here.
Yes, Allen Laurinaria. Apologies for the confusion. As this time, possession will stay with St. Clair.
Don't worry, I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more of his name in the coming seasons and the coming tournaments, especially with that dunk that he showed us earlier. People are going to remember his name.
So it's still the same old news for the Saints. Only scoring 3 points so far in the past 4 minutes.
And that's with most of their key players on the floor. Endong, Burgos, and Acosta. And right now, I would even go as far as to say that they're really feeling the absence of JB Lim. That stabilizer in the backcourt, that point guard who distributes the ball to the right people at the right time and also takes the shots when he's open. And sometimes when you're missing that quality of a point guard, the entire offense suffers.
And I guess that's just the kind of day it is for the St. Clair Saints. Tough Monday for the guys in white. And of course, they also lost the sharpshooter in Lex Gazingan as he transferred to the Letran Knights.
I was wondering actually where Gazingan was. I was just assuming that he's not available today, but what a bad sign for the Saints and good sign for the Knights getting a shooter like Gazingan.
Well, he did play for them in the juniors division. Actually, same with his teammate that time, was now in St. Clair as well. He's not in the game. Talking about Justin Bautista. Over 5 minutes remaining in our third chapter. Still, it's still quite a big lead. 14 to be exact for the Heavy Bombers. So this long game played by the St. Clair Saints, working on the side of JRU. As Parinas drawing the foul against Sarmiento. And he'll be heading to the line for two. So Sarmiento making a case.
Initially, he played good defense, jumping straight up, but at the very last second, his arms went down just a little bit, and of course, our referees have no choice but to blow the whistle. And St. Clair still missing their shots, even the easiest looks, as their layups, their free throws have all been clanking the rim, and that's not a good sign.
So last game, it was the problem of the Brigadiers that they couldn't shoot free throws. And this game, hopefully, it won't be the same for the St. Clair Saints. I mean, they've played already in this venue, so that will be a reason for them to miss free throws. Meanwhile, Sarmiento try to set it inside. Escobedo, great anticipation.
That pass could have been given up earlier.
Acosta fighting his way to the cup.
This could light a fire underneath the Saints with that Acosta layup. And if they're able to string together some stops here and get some easy looks at the basket.
Meanwhile, Montejo. You gotta love the hustle of, or rather, Escobedo. I'm sorry, they kind of.
Clair can get back to the free throw line and find a way to knock down their free throws. They can trim this lead down, maybe even get the lead before the start of the fourth quarter. But I would focus more on defense if I were Coach Janino Manansala. I'm sure he has already talked to his boys about that because most of their easier baskets have come from generating those turnovers. Remember that steal earlier by Babacar and Dong. If they get some easy looks in transition, this could be a whole different ball game.
So the challenge of Coach Nani Pundulan is successful. And with that, they get the possession. But St. Clair, nevertheless, playing great defense.
And there we go. It has to start on defense, especially if your offense is as cold as it has been for the Saints. And if you can force turnovers, get extra possessions, and get to the free throw line, as I mentioned earlier, that could open things up for the Saints.
Meanwhile, Acosta, no good on the shot. Could have put the lead down to just single digits. Nevertheless, JRU with a chance to extend it. Salvador had a hot hand. But right now, there's an offensive foul on Duque.
Garupil checking back into this game.
And same goes with Allen Lorenaria. Or correction, he won't check in the game. Perhaps the next dead ball he will, but for now, St. Clair heavily guarded by the heavy bombers. Dumangkas for three. Still not falling.
That's two possessions in a row already that they've taken some decent outside looks. Just not falling for St. Clair.
Garupil looking for an open guy. Hands it off to Salvador, way outside. All board. And if you're Coach Janino Manansala, that's the kind of defense you want to see.
That's right. You have to contest the shots. You have to stay in front of your man. There we go. Manzano relentless in attacking the basket there. Hopefully this time he can knock down his free throws.
Hopefully, indeed. Maybe that's the way for them to get into rhythm. Again, Clint Manzano. Sophomore for the St. Clair Saints, of course. Played in the juniors division as well for the Baby Saints. His first one is no good for Clint. Again, you've argued that he may be arguably the best big man in the St. Clair squad.
That's right. Best local big man. Together with the Burgos, they're really a talented bunch, a hardworking group here for Coach Janino. As I see my twin entering the venue here, wearing a black shirt. Dom Sarikumba.
But can you also dunk like Dom?
No, in NBA 2K only. Sometimes not even. Not enough VC.
Yeah, you have to buy the package.
I spent all my VC on tattoos.
Who are you, LaMelo Ball? Spending VC on the wrong kinds of things. But right now, St. Clair need to spend their time on the right kind of things. As Salvador taking a hit on the much bigger Babacar and Dong.
And that Pinoy step got off his feet there. Really wanting to spike that ball.
Salvador with a chance to get two from the line. Another look. Yes, indeed, faking Ndong out of his shoes. Again, that guy has been hot a while ago. Surprised to see he's not really trying to take over. Second one on its way for Sean Salvador. 1 out of 2 for the former Mapua player. Meanwhile, we have under 2 minutes remaining in Chapter 3. Manzano up top. Escobedo this time. Ndong provided the screen, but Escobedo rejected it. Still not falling. It has been a bad day for St. Clair.
And when it rains, it pours, and everyone has had bad shooting day so far for St. Clair.
Salvador not getting that one in. Of course, fortunately for the St. Clair Saints, still nothing falling for Escobedo and friends.
And we're already towards the end of the third quarter. Yet St. Clair has only managed to put up 22 points. I mean, JRU already has a low output for a third quarter with 34, but St. Clair having 22 is really not a recipe for success whatsoever. You can't expect to win a ball game scoring 22 points regardless of how good your defense is.
And of course, not to mention, they're missing a lot of free throws. So indeed,
Oh yes,
a recipe for disaster.
definitely. We would have to take a look at the free throw numbers after this game, and they'll have to practice their free throws. And sometimes it's not even about the mechanics or about conditioning. Sometimes it's mental.
Ibanez missing badly, and finally, they get 2 points courtesy of Endong. And at the end of the day, it's only a 10-point game. So who knows? Of course, still in the third period. So a lot of time for St. Clair to bounce back as Peñaverde gets fouled on his way to the iron.
Number 75, and Duapas, that's his first personal foul. To be used for Peñaverde. Substitution.
2 freebies for the former Red Robin in Peñaverde. Sarmiento also entering the game, looking to provide some size. First one is good for Peñaverde, as we have 45 seconds remaining in Chapter 3. Two out of 2 for Peñaverde. Great defense played by Garupil that time.
That's right. Even though they are in the penalty, they're still putting on that pressure defensively.
Let's see if St. Clair will capitalize on that fact. That again, they are on the penalty. Monteo attacks. Oh, that ball was going nowhere. Dumangkas gets it back. And Dong draws the foul.
And these are good fouls that JRU is committing, knowing that St. Clair hasn't been able to knock down their free throws today. You would rather send them to the free throw line and even afford to go 1 for 2 rather than giving an easy layup or even a dunk to Endong, which could liven the spirits of his teammates.
First one is good for Babacar and Dong. Their first made freebie after a long while. Again, it's only an 11-point lead, a chance to make it 10. So not really, the worst case scenario if you're St. Clair. Still very manageable, despite everything that's happened, of course. And 2 out of 2 for the FSA. Almost a steal for St. Clair. But JRU staying composed. Shot clock is off. Peñaverde, way downtown, won't work.
Oh, that was not a good shot for Peñaverde with the amount of time that they had on the shot clock. And I'm not sure why some of these players keep on insisting on shooting from around the 4-point line, which we do not have here, but there's you don't need to shoot from that far out.
Probably because they're really confused. So both teams really just fumbling their possessions. So ball goes back to JRU after all. So 12 seconds to shoot. 12 seconds for possibly one final shot for JRU. And good decision for Coach Nani to insert sharpshooter Sean Argente And you already know who they're gonna look for. Garopil to Herrera. That's good from deep. And that does it for our third period. 39-26. That three coming from Harry Herrera for sure hurt the egos of the St. Clair Saints as they're down by 13 points. But still, a fourth quarter to go. Anything is possible. We'll be back for more. Back to the action here, 39-30. Again, St. Clair trailing by 9 points. I mean, when you say it initially, it doesn't look that good, but considering that third quarter is already the best situation so far for them. As Acosta gets that bailout pass. Montejo at the right side. Garopil on him. This time Reyes to Burgos. Behind the back move. He fades away. Not the best shot perhaps for St. Clair. As we have some altercation. Our official will take another look on what happened. Coach Nani not agreeing with an initial call. That was, I think, a double foul. But again, our officials will take another look. So here's our review. It was an off-ball sequence. Reyes and Lance Benitez going at it.
Getting entangled underneath the basket, of course. Whenever there's a box out, that's usually where a lot of the action and extracurricular stuff happens. But according to our officials, it seems as it's going to be a double foul on two players involved.
Double foul for number 1 on San Jose, Luis Reyes. That's his second personal foul. Foul on number 21, Lance Benitez of the JRU Heavy Bombers. Lance Benitez, 4 fouls.
So Lance Benitez out of this game as he graduates, but not in college.
Yes, just for this ball game, that's his 5th foul already, and we'll see if this absence is going to be sorely missed here by his team or if the others will step up in his place. Still, 9-point lead here by the Heavy Bombers.
So one more look on what happened. But then again, you know, you gotta love the intensity coming from both teams. No one is refusing to back down, and of course, why would they? The other is an NCAA caliber team, another is an 8-peat champion team. As Manzano refusing to back down. And we'll get that breakaway lay-in.
Once again, starting from the defensive end, getting that steal, and then a coast-to-coast layup for Manzano. Their half-court offense has been ice cold, but if they can get easy baskets in transition, this game can still be theirs if they play their cards right.
7-point game. Definitely St. Clair is in this game. Clint Manzano. Again, you've mentioned that he's one of the guys to look out for St. Clair, so definitely if he's finding that right time to produce, maybe this is the right time. The best time, rather. Foul on Sean Salvador.
I believe it's going to be an 8-second violation instead in favor of the Heavy Bombers. St. Clair taking too long passing the ball between them in the backcourt instead of just finding a way to cross the half-court line.
So JRU winning that sequence after all.
Dodging a bullet. That could have been a foul if it happened prior to the 8 seconds, but luckily for them, they forced that turnover.
Exactly, and hopefully it'll amount to something in this possession. As Duque is heavily guarded by Montejo. And Montejo arguing that he was the one that got hit. But still, it's against him, talking about the foul.
Still no Babacar Ando on the floor for the Saints.
7-point game. JRU a chance to take back those 2 points a while ago. Duque to Garopil. Sarmiento providing the pick. Shot clock at 2 seconds. Salvador, tough shot. Manzano grabs it. And St. Clair is running. But they will step on the brakes. Wise move for them. Acosta attacks. Acosta outside of Burgos for 3. Won't work. Could have cut the lead to just 4 points for the Heavy Bombers. But still a lot of time in this fourth period. Salvador, the fake. He'll fire for 3. Not the best result for JRU.
Salvador now starting to miss his outside shots.
Meanwhile, Acosta. Risky shot. Good thing they get it back. But still. And finally, that's Burgos getting 2 points.
Now the lead is just down to 5 for the Heavy Bombers. Still 5 minutes remaining in the fourth and final quarter.
Babacar and Dong. And Escobedo looking to check back in for St. Clair. As Salvador. That's 3 misses in a row for him.
All from the same spot, no less. And they've really been trying to go for him and trying to get his rhythm back offensively and shoot his way back into this game. But he will have to sit on the bench as Sean Argenta checks back in.
So Sarmiento, Argente, and Lorenaria checking back in the game. Looking to provide some spark for JRU as they're sensing St. Clair is slowly but surely climbing up the ladder. So Duque will be the one to trigger the inbound. Lorenaria trying to get free. Argente asking for it. They try to send it to Sarmiento.
That was clearly a foul there from the Saints. Not sure if it was on Acosta or Burgos, but there was a bump prior to, as that ball was being inbounded.
Rodrigo Acosta actually requesting for a coach's challenge, pero di naman siya magde-decide nun.
Right, not sure what they were arguing about, seeing as the bump was clear. Maybe selling the call as well, but still, the foul was called by our officials.
He gets warned for delay of the game. As Duque, another inbound, finds Sarmiento. And someone is on the floor. I believe that's Alan Lorenaria.
And Lorenaria just checked back into this game together with Argente.
So they will check on him. Hopefully he's all okay. Holding on to his right knee. Seems to have gotten into that area. So quite a slow couple of minutes so far in our fourth period. As we have under 5 minutes remaining in this game. (39-34), the Heavy Bombers only up by 5 points. So if you're St. Clair, that's a better situation compared to a while ago. It seems like it was a knee-to-knee contact that resulted in that fall for Alan Lorenaria, but good thing he's standing up right now. So a mandatory substitution for Alan Lorenaria, as again, seems to be in pain. Under 5 minutes remaining in this fourth period. Again, a 5-point lead for the Heavy Bombers, as Yuri Duque and friends will try to capitalize in this possession. Argente outside against Acosta. Now Sarmiento against Indong. Back to Sean. Argente inside to Sarmiento. Beautiful play.
And breaking the dry spell for the Heavy Bombers. Good play there by Argente. Normally a score-first point guard, but more than capable of finding that open teammate.
It's a good thing they have one more foul, or rather 2 more fouls to give. Four minutes remaining. Monteo is outside. Escobedo trying to get free. Burgos provides the pick. Monteo to Burgos inside. Endong. Easy 2.
Good interior passing there by the big man.
So it's back to a 5-point game. Again, if you're St. Clair, nothing to worry about. You're still very much in this one. Stolen by Burgos. Montejo this time at the break. Oh, that ball was going nowhere.
That's why you don't jump when you are about to pass, not unless you're absolutely sure who you're passing it to. And unless you have the hang time of John Morant, you can't afford to be that indecisive.
Argente to Duque. They try a 3. Too strong. Perhaps not the best shot at the time. So St. Clair a chance to make this a 1-possession game. Burgos inside. The fake. Outside again. Acosta for 3. Bingo!
That is a huge shot coming from Acosta, and good recognition from Burgos. Seeing the double team underneath the basket, finding a teammate right in the corner for a timely 3-pointer.
Entering this 4th period, it was a 13-point lead for JRU. Now, only a 2-point lead for them. St. Clair, again, very much in this game. And not to mention, they force a turnover.
And now it's JRU who is indecisive with their movements, as he was already open for a 3-pointer, but since he missed that last attempt, he had to think twice, and it resulted in a turnover instead.
St. Clair coming alive at the best time possible as they're only down by 2. Over 2 minutes remaining in our 4th period. Back to the action, 41-39. Again, entering this 4th period, the Saints were trailing by 13. Now, with over 2 minutes remaining, they're only trailing by 2 points. Talk about coming alive in the best possible time.
That's right, Cho, and what a time indeed for them to get back into this game. Speaking of the Saints, and it's all started on the defensive end of the floor. They've been forcing some turnovers and some bad shots from the JRU Heavy Bombers, and they've capitalized on it, just as we predicted that they would.
Over 2 minutes remaining. And you can see the intensity of these players leveling up. JRU with a chance to make this a comfortable lead. Possibly of 4 or 5 points. Outside Herrera. Escobedo on him. Argente asking for it, almost losing it though. Argente, tough shot. Won't go, and Dong secures the rebound. A chance to tie the game or take the lead as we enter our twilight zone, the last 2 minutes of this game. Escobedo. This time Burgos. Inside Endong. Good decision for the Saints.
That would have been an automatic 2 points for Endong, and that's the last foul to give for the Heavy Bombers.
Great decision. The possession will stay with the Saints. Coach Nani will insert Peña Verde in that JRU 5. 14 to shoot for the boys of Coach Ginino Manansala. Let's see what they have in mind. Montejo will trigger the inbound. Ndong inside. No one was there to pick up Babacar Ndong.
And that has energized the rest of the Saints here and ties the ball game up at 41 apiece. Low scoring game, but it took the entire 4 quarters for St. Clair to get back into this thing against the Heavy Bombers, who have enjoyed a lead for majority of this game. And Babacar Ndong almost played Luksong Baka there. And seeing as they are in the penalty, that's going to be 2 more free throws here for the Heavy Bombers.
So high IQ move coming from Vince Sarmiento. Obviously, he has no chance against a much bigger Babacar Ndong. Speaking of the devil, Babacar Ndong, no mercy at the rim. As fortunately, Vince Sarmiento will miss that first one.
And now it's JRU who are missing their free throws. And what a time for them to start missing.
But still a chance to give his squad the lead. And he won't. So it's now or never for the St. Clair Saints. They've trailed by 14 at the beginning of the 4th period. Now it's a tied game. A chance to take the lead. Ndong, the ball is in his hands. He has eyes on the prize. Not the best shot though.
They could have maximized their shot clock a bit more and maybe moved that ball and gotten a better look. Nevertheless, they still have about 2 more possessions to go before the end of this game.
Outside, it's Peña Verde. Garopil looking to get free, but it's out of bounds. 49 seconds remaining. It's crunch time for the Saints. And by the way, good defense as well in that last defensive possession. As Montejo will be the one to bring it down and got a peel on him. Acosta looking to get free, he does. Burgos hands it off to Escobedo. Acosta up top. The screen from Ndong. Acosta nowhere to go. Escobedo, tough shot. Not that time. It ends up with Panapanan. And JRU now with the possession. And they're gonna take their time. 2-second difference between the shot and game clock. Argente with a basketball. Escobedo picking him up. Argente putting on the moves. Argente gets blocked by Ndong. And that's out of bounds, so possession will go to St. Clair. Timeout called by Coach Ginino Manansala as we have 2.4 seconds remaining in this game.
Argente, I would say that Argente took a bit too long there. And at the end, he was still undecisive after he saw that Ndong was there to help. Of course, you have to expect that Ndong would be there to help, so you have to be ready to give that ball up immediately. But Argente still forced that shot, almost a 24-second shot clock violation for the Heavy Bombers. But the St. Clair Saints still have 2.4 seconds to try and steal this one from the Heavy Bombers. And I say steal because even though they are pretty evenly matched, the way they've been playing this game, it looked as if JRU was going to run away with a victory before St. Clair went on that run here in the 4th quarter. We'll see if they'll be able to complete the comeback.
Exactly. So even though it's a tie game, yes, it's going to be considered an upset maybe. Even though they are again an 8-peat champ. So let's see. Only time will tell. Only 2.4 seconds will tell. And if you're St. Clair, again, you have the materials to make something happen with those 2 seconds. Of course, we have the inside presence of Ndong and outside presence of your shooters.
And I feel as if the first option, the most obvious option would be to try and go for a lob for Babacar and Dong. So JRU has to be wary of that. And the best case for JRU is to try and force an outside shot from St. Clair, seeing as they've been inconsistent today with that three-pointer. We'll see what Coach Janino has drawn up for our final play of regulation.
Again, all tied up at 41, 2.4 seconds remaining. Still a lot of time to dribble and shoot, or as you said, make a lob. To just make something happen in general. So here we go. Triggering the inbound is Montejo. Garupil on him. Acosta trying to get free. He does. He fires for the win. And we're going to overtime.
And this is the first overtime period of our second conference in the National Developmental Sports League. And who would have expected for St. Clair to come back into this game and force an extra 5 minutes?
And that is indeed the case. Extra 5 minutes of fun for everybody here in the Met Park Sports Center. So a low-scoring game, nevertheless, it's going to be extended. So at the end of the regulation, it's all tied up at 41. We'll be back for more. Back to the action here for our overtime period. Again, all tied up at 41. Drake Acosta tried to win it for St. Clair, but it did not go in. So 5 more minutes of fun. Montejo greatly defending Garupil. Able to eat a lot of time with that 24-second shot clock. A Salvador, no good on the floater. Obviously was bothered by the much bigger Babacar and Dong. Montejo this time to pick from Manzano. Acosta has the basketball in his hands. And Dong this time inside. Basket and one. Babacar and Dong. Big time play for the FSA of St. Clair.
And now is the time for Babacar and Dong to impose his will down low. He's been absent for a majority of this game, not producing his usual numbers, aside from a couple of highlight dunks. But here in the overtime period, he has to remember that there's not really one player on JRU's lineup that can stay in front of him if he really wants to be as assertive as we know he can be.
So Ndong is at the line, a chance to convert it into a three-point play. And he does just that. So St. Clair now leading by 3 points. JRU now a chance to level the playing field, or at least cut the lead to just 1 as they swing the ball around. But there's a whistle. But there's a foul against St. Clair. That was on Montejo. And now Garupil will be tested at the line. First one is no good for Garupil. If you're choosing the time to miss the free throws, now is not the right time. And he misses 2 of them. Hopefully it doesn't bite them in the back. Manzano this time. Outside dish, Acosta the fake. Smart move for Acosta to not force that shot, as Montejo will miss that three-pointer.
Coach Janino not happy about that possession. They were calling for a specific play, and instead they had an ill-advised three-pointer.
Meanwhile, Salvador to Sarmiento outside. Garopil is swinging around. Salvador, baseline drive, reverse lane, is no good. Rejected and grabbed by Babacar Endong.
And Dong just pinned that ball on the glass. Great timing from the big man.
So a chance for St. Clair to make this a comfortable lead. But it's stolen by Garopil. Adds a break, Jay to Salvador. He gets fouled. So it's another chance for JRU to cut that lead. A while ago, Garopil missed 2 freebies. Now Salvador will be the one tested.
All teams advise and serve on the bench court. All teams please proceed on the shaded lane in front of your respective benches.
Three-point lead for St. Clair. It was Babacar Endong giving them the lead after that three-point play a while ago. One of the first baskets here in overtime. So it's Sean Salvador again, going to the line, and will be feeling the pressure. Over 3 minutes remaining in our overtime period. Sean Argente checking back in the game, looking to provide some spark for JRU. Also tried to win the game a while ago for JRU. Unfortunately missed. Same goes with Drick Acosta. As first one is off the mark for Salvador. But even one can make a difference. So 0 out of 4 in the last 2 trips to the line for JRU.
And they would have been up by 1 point had they made those free throws.
Drick Acosta for 3. Not that time, Endong gets it back. 2 more points for the big guy.
There we go once again. Endong imposing his will down in the paint. And who can stop him? It has to be done by committee, and you have to box him out early, which JRU has not done.
That has been the challenge indeed for JRU, as now they're trailing by 2 possessions. Stolen by Montejo. Burgos running against Panapanaan. Good defense coming from Ivan. St. Clair gets a hold of it again. Acosta being wise with time. Montejo way outside. Acosta for 3. Not the best shot, but they get it back.
Argente waiting for that whistle. You have to keep playing, and that costs them another basket by Burgos.
And Coach Nani Pendulan far from happy, as they're trailing now by 7 points. As we enter another twilight zone, this time in our overtime period. Argente to Sarmiento. And there's a foul. But Sarmiento now on the floor. Seemed to land on his back area. Hopefully he's all okay. I mean, it's no joke bumping into a big guy like Endong. And our officials will take one more peek on our past sequence. It's 48-41. So Soy Escobedo getting called for that foul. And he's reached the foul limit, so he's out of this game. And I think Sarmiento will be shooting free throws again. For the past 2 trips, they've been shooting 0 out of 4. So that's gotta hurt as it is. If you're Vince Sarmiento, you will have to really make those 2 freebies. At this point, it's non-negotiable. Seven-point game. Again, the Heavy Bombers trailing. 7 points isn't that big, but again, considered the pressure at this point of the game, it's going to be quite difficult. As Angelo Ibanez will enter the game. Again, Soy Escobedo out of this game due to his 5 fouls. And Peñaverde entering the game in exchange of Vince Sarmiento, as seems like his back really got hurt. Finally, a made freebie for Sarmiento, rather for Peñaverde and company. Two out of 2 for Peñaverde, much needed freebies. Ibanez being wise, and they take their time. 5-point game. And Dong provides the pick. Montejo goes right. Double team on him. And Dong, he gets fouled.
A good read by Montejo, finding Endong cutting to the basket. Endong will head to the line for 2 more free throws.
And definitely the focal point of the offense for St. Clair this game, Babacar Endong. First one is good for the big man.
Hitting some timely free throws. Earlier he was missing, and especially in the first half, but now when it matters the most.
Rare to see a big man like Babacar Endong having a nice stroke from the mid-range or from the free throw line. But he'll miss the second one. Endong erasing that shot from existence. But wait a minute. Is that gonna be counted as a block or an interference? So there's gonna be a review just to be sure. So the Heavy Bombers will retain possession. So it was indeed a block for Babacar Endong. But it's still a 3-possession game. (49-43). Argente will be the one to trigger the inbound. So Peñaverde will be the one to look for. Panapanaan outside again. This time it's Laurenaria. Peñaverde asking for it. Laurenaria refuses to give it. He'll attack and he'll draw the foul.
Laurenaria just putting his head down and driving to the basket. He pretty much had no choice there, seeing as nothing was happening in their offense there, and I have the same reaction as Endong with what's been happening in this game so far.
So we're very slow past minutes this overtime. But St. Clair in a good position. Again, trailed by as much as 13 points at the start of the fourth period. Now they're up by 6 points. Make that 5. One out of 2 for Alan Lorenaria. As Ndong grabbed the rebound, his 19th rebound of the game.
Oh, and the ball will go back to JRU. It seems as though the ball hit Ndong on the way out. Coach Janino not even contesting it.
14 on the shot.
So lucky break for the boys of Coach Nani. Peña Verde finds Garopil outside. Garopil puts one up, he gets blocked. Try to put it back in, won't go. Peña Verde for 3. Not that time. Still nothing for JRU.
Those were some good looks at the basket. And good decision by Ibanez to dribble the ball out. Turnover almost completed there. But unfortunately, Loreniana unable to hold on to that ball. So possession stays with St. Clair in 14 seconds on their shot clock.
So they're still not out of the woods, but it's a tough situation to be in. Ndong outside. Panapanaan on him. Acosta this time. The double team on him. To the other side, Montejo with a fake. Wise decision from the young gun. The attack. Not that time for Burgos. Argente for 3.
And that looks like it's going to be it for this game, especially if the free throws coming up for Montejo are going to be knocked down. 15.9 seconds remaining. Time not on the side of the Heavy Bombers.
To be first for Richmond Montejo.
So perhaps a chance to put the nail on the coffin for Montejo.
Even if he makes this next one, that's still going to be a 6-point lead for St. Clair. All they have to do is play good defense for the next possession.
Zero out of 2 for Montejo. Let's see what JRU has in mind. Peña Verde. Bothered that time. Argente for 3. He'll miss it. Peña Verde will try. Still nothing. And that'll do it for this overtime thriller.
And what a game. First overtime for the second conference of the National Developmental Sports League. And who would have thought that it would be between JRU and St. Clair, seeing as JRU had a comfortable lead heading into the fourth quarter. But as we've said time and again, St. Clair showing us why they are a dynasty in the ASCU, as they proved once again that you can never count out a champion. And even though we went into overtime, ultimately St. Clair was able to crawl back into this game and steal this one from JRU. But one thing that we can promise is that for the years to come, JRU is going to give a lot of headaches to a lot of teams.
Let's take a look at our move of the game. No other than this slam dunk coming from Babacar Ndong. Way to make a statement. And just like what you said, St. Clair stealing this one from JRU. Again, considering how this game was played. And you know what they say, never underestimate the heart of a champion. And that is the reason why they win this low-scoring game, 49-44. And for our player of the game, I think it's quite obvious if you've really watched the game. It's no other than this guy, Babacar Ndong, just pulling rebounds, dropping hammers, and just playing an overall good basketball game. And the reason why he has been the mainstay FSA for St. Clair for the past 5 years. Again, unfortunately not eligible anymore to play next season, but you know, still very pleasing to see him playing in these kinds of leagues.
And this might be his last tournament wearing the jersey of St. Clair. So if it is, And hopefully he can go out on a high note and leave a memorable performance every time out.
Indeed. But for now, we'll be turning it over to Daniel LaGuardia for the interview.
Thank you so much, Chola and Kyle. First of all, congratulations, for crawling back and really getting this win. So just going back, you were trailing behind for at least 3 quarters, 4 quarters. So what did you guys do differently to get this win up until the overtime?
We was taking like a early shot, so we missed a lot of three. Our players were in rush. We didn't take our time to execute our plays. So after the third quarter, the coach took it to us. So calm down the players. That's why we was able to get back on the score little by little.
Of course, there was a lot of pressure and a lot of intensity all throughout the game. So how did you manage to still perform well, even give us a dunk, throughout the game?
Just like play our game, our players did an amazing job attacking the basket, drawing like an easy pass. That's why I was able to do like an easy dunks.
Of course, you have a lot of people watching you right now. Would you like to greet or thank anyone?
I just want to greet our community, St. Clair, our president, Dr. J, and our sponsor, all of them. Big shout out to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again. Congratulations, Babakar and Dong, for that amazing performance. And of course, the St. Clair Saints for winning their first game. Let's get back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Daniel, and congratulations once again to St. Clair and to the force to be reckoned with. That is Babakar and Dong with a 20-point, 19-rebound game. And that's a wrap for this game, but stay tuned. We still have 3 more games after this one, so it's only the halfway mark. Stay tuned. You can watch our live on our Facebook and YouTube pages. But for now, we'll be saying goodbye. This has been Cholo Pangilinan, Kyle Sanchez, and Daniel LaGuardia. This is the Ndsl Basketball Series.